Good afternoon. Welcome to the B&H virtual event space. It's nice to know I still remember where I am. We still know how to operate a live stream. If you're here, you obviously know how to log into YouTube still. We are here to learn how to use mocopi for gaming animations with creative technologist WoodyDevs. Woody, welcome.
Hello. Hi.
Great to have you on. A huge thank you for you to you for joining us. Also, a huge thank you to Sony for hosting today's event. A little bit different venture than we're used to. Usually it's, a photo, a little video. We're going into the gaming animations here. We're still mixing in our cameras. So if you're out there and you're a photographer and you're like, why am I here? That's why you're here. But we get to do something cool today. We get to play. And Woody, you're kind of be walking us through this gaming animation thing, correct?
That is right. We're doing gaming animations today using motion capture.
I love it. Sounds super interesting. As we talked about before we went live, this is Woody's thing. It is not mine. I am along with you guys for the journey. I'm hoping I can learn something today. So I'm going to turn it over to Woody. If you guys do have any questions, as always, feel free to get them into the live chat on YouTube, and we'll have some Q&A when Woody wraps it up. Woody, take it away.
All right. Thank you, Derek. Well, hey, everybody. I couldn't have said it better than Derek. I'm just going to pull up my slides here. We're going to be using mocopi today to create a couple of game animations. We're going to go through it. We're going to do it quick, fast, and easy. I just want to be able to show you guys, one, the really cool tech we're using, and then two, like the results that we can create. Because you'll see we'll be able to, in minutes, create some animations and put them right into a video game. Today, we are going to use mocopi together with Sony's Zin Studio, and then we are going to move those into Blender, and then from Blender, we're going to move those into Unreal. So let me, here, I'm switching over my keyboard over to my deck right now. Let's see here. I have multiple computers for this whole setup, so every once in a while, it might take me a second or two. So first question, so what is mocopi? Mocopi is a set of portable sensors that we can use for motion capture. And I have been wearing them the whole time. So I have them on right now. I'm wearing the mocopi. This is what the mocopi looks like. You can see here, I'm wearing them like all over my body. Like I have one on my head, I have one on my hands, I have one on my wrists. They're all over the place. Leg, we have an ankle here. We have one on my hip line back here that's on a little clip. We have one behind my hat that's on another clip. That's a fun little pro tip that you can use some clips as well. Sony will also send you clips if you get a mocopi, which is very fun. So let's see here. These things basically together use magnetic sensors to be able to sense each other's location and then be able to report back to our computer. And it's really, really simple. So there's a couple of different flavors of mocopi. You have mocopi and then you have mocopi pro. So regular mocopi is a set of 6 sensors. And then you typically, that's like your wrist, it's your hips, that's your ankles and your head, I believe. And then when you get a mocopi pro kit, you actually just have 2 of the regular kind of mocopi. And then you can place them on more joints to be able to track more areas of the body. And that leads to cooler, better, more accurate mocap. You're just multiplying the amount of motion capture that you can do, which is very fun. Here's a picture of mocopi pro. This is the stuff that comes with it. You have your 2 packs. You also have these 2 little wireless receivers that are receiving all of the mocopi stuff and the wireless signals that each one is sending. And then those 2 things bring it all together. You can use it as one, you can use it as 2, but these 2, they connect specifically over USB-C. It looks a little bit something like this. Let's imagine that good-looking guy right there, let's imagine that's me. And then I'm wirelessly transmitting to my receivers, sending that back to a PC, and then recording the assets. So we're just going to basically do that today. We're going to jump right in, and then we're going to do that essentially. I'm already wearing the mocopi. That sometimes it takes a little bit of time to like put them on and stuff like that. So I thought I'd just skip right to it. But you guys can see it's like a pretty simple setup. These straps are actually very comfortable, and I'm someone who's very sensitive about things like that. So I really appreciate these. And once you have them all connected, you have them all in the right places, you can start to do motion capture. I will show you that. I'm first going to recalibrate. A calibration is a part of using a system like this. You want to recalibrate your sensors, and that way it's all going correctly into your mannequin. So I'm going to recalibrate for 1 second, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like. Switch over to my Windows computer here. I'm going to actually take off my headphones, but because the mocopi is a magnet-based thing, a headphones is actually a set of magnets. So it's always a great idea to take these off whenever you're going to do something like that. You're going to recalibrate. So let's press the recalibrate button. I know you can't see it yet. Just give me 1 second. So we're going to stand here in this neutral pose for a few seconds. And then I'm going to be prompted to step forward. I'm going to take a big step, and then I'm just going to keep standing here. We may have to do this again, and I'll show you the little screen. It's really easy to do. But now that we've done that, I can put my headphones back on, and I can show you what I'm talking about here. So I have my mocopi attached to my character, and you can see my motions are being matched between myself and this mannequin. So this mannequin is me for all intents and purposes. I can bring my sense of presence and my theatricality to this little guy, which is very fun. It's full body track, so you can see if I'm like moving my foot or I'm like moving around like this, then that's how we do it. We've got everything that we need here. Today, we're just doing game animations. So we have pretty much everything we need. We just need to track body, and then we have the, all of these joints. We can start doing things that we would apply to a game character. So let's do this. Let's just do like an easy, simple little, let's do some jumping jacks, let's say. And I want to show you how all of these things work together, because once we are done recording, we're going to bring them back over into Zen Studio, which is the program that can help you kind of like filter through your mocopi animations, combine them, and then create results between two things. So I'm actually going to do a recording that combines some things. Let's say our game character needs like a little bit of a cheer, like a taunt. Like if you've ever played Super Smash Brothers, you need to be able to do something that lets all the other players know that you've beaten them and that you're the winner. So I'm going to start by just doing some jumping jacks here. I think this will be a good example here. So there we go. We have our jumping jacks. I'm gonna cut the record, and you'll notice that when I'm recording, there is a start and stop. Same as if I was pressing record on a camera. I press record, but then I have to walk back in front of the lens. I have to get in the right place. And the combination of mocopi and Zen Studio actually is going to create a solution for us that's very helpful with that. So we've done a jumping jack. Let's add another element into this. We want to do like maybe a like a yes pose, just like a victory, something like, I don't know what the word is for this, but I see it in video games all the time. So I'll just do like a yes, something like that. So we'll have these two things. Let's say maybe our character is really into fitness or something like that. And then he does jumping jacks, and then he's like, yes. So now that I have these two recordings, these are files that live on my computer. They're already there. They're easy to find. We can minimize this window, and we can open up Zen Studio. Now, this is what I was doing previous to this. I'm going to delete everything that I have in here, so we can start from scratch. This is a previous set of motion captures here. But I want to start from the very beginning and then make sure that we are working with a blank canvas here. So I'm going to go to Import, and I'm going to open what we've just made. It's pretty easy to figure out what you just did because these are all files on our computer, so we can see the date that they were created on. So you can see that we just made these right now. I'm going to pull in both of these and press open, and we'll get our files. Give it a second here. There's one. There's two. So I'm going to grab these, and I can just drag them onto a timeline here. We'll get this little warning. This is not a problem. We're not worried about it. I'm going to grab the other one, pull it here. I'm gonna say that we don't need the warning. So as I mentioned, Like when we start doing jumping jacks, here's our jumping jacks. This is great. If any of you have done motion capture before, it's going to look familiar. The process, obviously, those are the motions that I just did, which is awesome. They look really good. Like I'm really happy with this. If I'm using this for a game, I don't think there's like a lot of cleanup that I have to do here. This pose looks really good. This looks great. We maybe have a little bit of hip occlusion, but that's something that we can fix later. So I'm gonna grab my tail end and I'm gonna drag it. This is so great because this is a little bit more annoying to do in other programs to just be able to drag our start and stop on these animations. This is kind of like how we would do like a video edit, basically. These are like kind of like video clips. So we can drag these together and then we have our start and stop. So our data is getting cropped basically in between these two places. So we have that, and now we have our next one. So we'll do the same thing. Here's our yes pose, getting excited, getting hyped. Let's crop this over here, and we'll do the same thing on the side. Now you'll notice that we have this 63 frame gap in between these, right? So I need to crop this as well. It's actually an even bigger gap now. It's 118 frames. We just have them sitting here. Now, the great thing about Zen Studio is it's really good at being able to combine animations together, which can be kind of a laborious process if you're going to do that manually and figure out how to do it yourself. So what we're going to do is I'm going to select both of these, and I'm going to just press this tween button. And this is going to take a few seconds and to create these missing 25 frames, but then we have a result in between them. So let's watch our full animation and see how we feel about it. Cool. And then we're doing that pose. So what's cool about this is that we actually moved in between these two animations. I actually moved. I did my jumping jacks, and then somehow when I was recording the next one, I was in a different place. And in this tween area, the studio actually figures out how to like automatically make the character walk to the next location, which is crazy and cool. So I don't think we need that much travel. I'm going to see if I can move this a little bit and then retry our tween again, because I don't think we need this. But it's so cool that we have this. If I was doing like a battle attack sequence, like maybe I would, I would have like a sword or something, and then I would want to take a few more steps and then make another attack in like an animation chain or something like that, like a typical, video game. So how the way this works, we'll just delete the tween clip, and then we'll just grab this guy, control click, grab this guy. We'll just hit tween again, and then ideally we'll have something that doesn't have to jump the same distance. Yeah. So we have something that's a little bit closer now. Cool. And then I still am getting a few frames at the end of this. Maybe I just forgot to crop the end. That's all it is. Cool. Great. So now that we have this whole thing, it starts and stops, we have a tween, and then we get right to where we want to go. I can now go up to File, Export Motions, and I have the option to create a BVH file or an FBX file or FBX with mesh, which all of these are very helpful. I'm going to show you guys just like a quick, easy, bulletproof way to do this if you're a Blender user. At this point, we can go to whatever software that you're used to using. I am used to Blender, so I'm going to show you guys like how to deal with this. This is like a great way. This handles basically any input, gives us an output. We're going to go to Blender, mocopi motion. This is our typical folder. I'm going to name this cheer. It's our cheer emote. So we'll export that. We're going to make sure we have the playback range, because that is our full timeline between these two things. Oh, good point. I've almost messed up. We can change the playback range here. So if we wanted to crop even more, this is another thing that's very similar to the video editors will understand intuitively. We have this whole playback range, and then we want to modulate it to make sure that we don't send any extra data. So before we do that, let's clip that playback range, and then we're going to have something that makes a little bit more sense. So the file name, let's call this cheer again, and it's going to go there. Great, Cool. Now we are ready to open Blender. So Blender, great software, free. If you know it, it's excellent. I have a little test dummy that I've made here in Blender. This is helpful for me when I'm bringing stuff into Blender because then I can see the character and then see the motion with it and stuff like that. Unreal Engine really likes having a mesh that goes with our process here. We do have an option for an FBX with mesh. I'm gonna do this method just so I can show you guys how to get this into Blender. Unreal also is free software. We love both of these for their affordability. So I can't highly recommend these two programs enough. If you're getting into the field and you're trying all this stuff out, it doesn't cost any extra to bring into these programs. So let's grab our BVH file. We're going to go to import, and then we're going to go to motion capture, BVH. Very close to B&H, but not quite. No relation, unfortunately, but I am happy to be here with you guys. We're going to grab cheer.bvh, and then I have a couple of settings here that will help us tremendously. So these are not the default settings. We are going to do a couple of things here. We want scale 0.0.1, 0.01, and then we want to make sure that we have scale FPS turned on as well as update scene duration. And what will happen if we don't have some of those on is we will create a giant skeleton that is way too big for the scene, and then also he will be moving in slow motion. So you hit all of those check boxes and update this, and then you won't have that issue. So here we go. We have our character. If we bring him back to frame 1, you can see that he's moving through all of these different poses, and then you can see how we've moved between them. This is great. Cool. There is not a whole lot more we need to do here. All we need to do at this point, honestly, I'm going to click and select my character, and I'm going to make sure it's in rest position. The skeleton specifically, this armature, needs to be in rest position. So now that I have this guy, I'm going to make sure I clear him so that he doesn't have any existing sort of issues. I'm going to delete this armature here. And then I'm also gonna delete all of my vertex groups. If you're just starting out with a new file, you're not gonna see any of this stuff. Also, if you want this little mesh mannequin here, we'll make sure you can download this. This is this is something I made in like 2 minutes. This is not a complicated character or anything. Just a helpful visualizer. But if you're new to this, you don't really have to do anything special. You could just put a bunch of cubes together and you could do what I'm doing right now. It doesn't really matter. It's very, very simple. I'm gonna make sure I delete all of my existing groups. Again, if you are just starting, you shouldn't have any of those. And then I'm gonna collect, I'm gonna click on my mesh, and then I'm gonna click on my armature, and then I'm gonna go over to object, I'm gonna go to parent, and then I'm going to go to armature deform with automatic weights. So I'll get with automatic weights there. And next, I can select my armature again. A little hard to do because I'm clicking in between my, my mesh here. But these are two different objects, the mesh and the skeleton. And then I'm going to go back to this tab here, the data tab. And then we're going to hit pose position. And now you can see how our character is moving. If you had a character in Blender, at this point right now, you could do this with your Blender character. You would have to do some weight painting, you would have to do a little bit of cleanup, but then you would have to make sure that this, you might have a bit of extra work, but you could do what I just did with an existing character, and then suddenly you already have the basis of an animation, and you could work from there. We're going to a game engine today because we're going to make game asset files, but you can see how this would be the start of a workflow for you. So we have this. It's looking pretty good. This is another great chance to catch any little errors. If you're really into Blender animation, you could decide to do some custom keyframing and stuff. You could go individually into some of the bones and then get them the way that you hope to see them. Make those little tweaks and stuff like that. I personally don't do a lot of traditional animation. I really love using motion capture. So I'm gonna just go ahead for the sake of time and then bring us straight into Unreal Engine. I'm gonna select both my mesh and I'm gonna select my skeleton, and I'm gonna move up to export. and I'm going to choose FBX because that's what Unreal Engine likes. And we have an opportunity again here to name a file, and we also have more settings that we need to get correct. So these are a bunch of presets that I typically use, but I'm going to just name them for you now just quickly so that you can use these if you need them. I want to select selected objects because that's going to make sure that we're only bringing in our armature and our mesh. Because if we get any more than that, we're going to grab like our camera and our lights and stuff, and it's not helpful, especially for getting the game engine to be able to read it correctly. We're going to make sure the scale is set to 1. We're also going to make sure we have just armature and mesh on. And then we can go into geometry. These are my settings for geometry. These are my settings for armature. And then make sure animation's ticked on because we're going to be taking our animation in, porting it into Unreal. Let's see here. We can name it whatever we want to name it. So let's just name this cheer. And this time, because we have already named a file cheer, I'm going to name this cheer for UE.fbx. And that way, I'm not going to be confused later about where I was in my workflow. So I'll save that FBX export. And now I can open my project. So here's me. Here's virtual me, if you will, in my little virtual world. This is the project that I've been actively working on for several years now. And it is a cross between a video game and like a live stream. I actually have used mocopi not only just to pre-record stuff for this character, but I've also used mocopi as a live streaming system to be able to send live data into the machine so that I can just do mocap straight into the engine, which is really, really fun, but not quite what we're talking about today. So if you're interested in that, we also have some resources for that I'll mention a little bit later. So this system has this character, and this is a video game character. This is a typical video game character controller in most respects. And then I can move him around when I play. But let's say that I want to be able to like take this up a level. Let's say I want to, oh, interesting. He does not want to animate at all, which is which was working a second ago, which is always super fun. I love it when it happens during the live that something gets a little funny or out of place. Let's see here. We'll figure out what's going on with that in a second. It's not going to detract from what we're doing today. I think honestly, and game devs, if you're on this stream, you're going to find this very relatable. I probably like ticked one little box that like changed the way the character was set up, and I probably did that like, today, like before the live, just try to make sure everything was correct, and then you'll do one thing. And game development is kind of a house of cards. I'm gonna not draw any more attention to that. Let's go. We can make a new level here is like a great way to be able to show this off. So we'll just create like a basic level. Gonna have this here. Sometimes it's helpful to just start with a new level in Unreal because it's a blank slate and there's less that visually distracts you. It's very helpful. We are going to import our character now. I want to show you guys the process of taking this character and taking the character with its preview skeleton and then applying it to a new character. We're going to go to import here. It's the very first thing if you right click in your content browser, and then we can find what we're looking for. So I'm going to go to the mocopi motion folder that's in your documents when you have any mocopi software installed, and see cheer for UE. That's what we're looking for. Cool. Now, you get this very intimidating screen that I'm going to talk you through, because this, I promise you, you need to set this up once and then it's good to go. You need to worry about it like once per project. And typically most things are set up appropriately. So you have a lot of options here, but the main ones are going to be about the mesh. We don't have a force or a detect mesh type. I'm just going to tell it right now that it's a skeletal mesh. It might be able to guess that, but I'm going to make sure that it knows. And then look through here, keep separate, section separate. A lot of this stuff is not going to apply I typically turn off recompute normals if I need to. That one I turn off, and that doesn't really apply too much here, but it's good to know that's there, especially if you're bringing a character that you brought from Blender that you want in Unreal. Let's say you already applied the mocopi before it even got here, and then you wanted to look through a list of characters, or you wanted to bring in that character alongside your animation that isn't in the list of characters. I'm going to find out that I don't actually have a mannequin yet. I don't have a sample, or I don't have a skeleton specifically. So we're going to just go ahead and leave this blank. And by leaving it blank, it's going to know that it has to generate one, which is good. So we can ignore static meshes right now because we don't have one. This all looks pretty much correct. Every once in a while, you want to make sure that you have your morph targets turned on if you're using a character from Blender, that you're not just using a simple little preview mesh. This, for the most part, looks all correct to me. Definitely make sure that we're importing our animations, all of this stuff. I like to make sure that I change things from source timeline to animated time, and I found that that helps a little bit, especially if you're getting certain kinds of errors. That can be very helpful. So we'll hit import, and then we have everything here. You'll notice that we got more than we bargained for with these animations, and that is because I was practicing this before the show, and there inside my Blender folder is a few more animations that I did not clear out. So we'll find the one, though, that is specifically ours. Don't worry about it. We can like rename our characters now, and that's a good idea. I'm going to name this little guy sk_zin mesh. And that way I know specifically that is the mesh that I'm going to be referencing. Because in our next few steps, we want to make sure that we are addressing the correct assets. So same thing with the skeleton here. I'm just going to call this Zin skeleton. All good. All right. Now we have different names for these. I'm guessing, yes. I'm going to delete some of these because these are the ones that I did not make for this show. These are the ones I made to just make sure everything was working properly before we got started. So we'll open this one specifically, and you can see we have our jumping jacks, and then we have our, yes. Can't remember what that's called. It's not a fist bump, because a fist bump is like with your friends. You do the fist bump. So we have a character, we have a mesh, and then we have, the data we're looking for, but we want to put it on a character. Let's say we want to put it on my character. I'm going to go to my specific folder, and I'm going to grab my character here, and we want to put it on this guy. So that we're moving from stuff from this specific skeleton to this skeleton. These are two different skeletons, which means we need to do a little bit of retargeting. Now, this was going to be inevitable for us. Whatever program we wanted to work in was going to need a little bit of retargeting. So Unreal specifically has a really wonderful retargeter, and it has both granular controls and, very important, the ability to just press a couple buttons and then just let it go. So that's great. I already have one for this character. This is an IK asset. For me, I made this a long time ago. And this is my character. It has these IK goals. It has this important list of all of the different bone chains. And really all we need from me is laid out in these graphs. So I need to do the same thing for this mesh that we brought in. So let me grab that. You can actually just click on this little pink button up here, and it will open the character. And if you're trying to find something quickly in Unreal, you can always press this little button. It'll take you back to wherever that thing is in the content browser, and then you can just pull it up. I'm going to right-click on this, and I'm going to go to Create, and I'm going to hit IK Rig. And this is going to very quickly set us up with this kind of specific asset. And I am going to open it. And for the most part, I think I need to just press 2 buttons here. If something is a little messed up, we might need to fix like 1 or 2 things. But for the most part, the way this works, you hit auto create chains, it populates the list. It didn't used to do this. It didn't used to do this. This is very nice. And then auto create IK. We may not use the IK system today. Unreal has some specifics that it wants when using our IK system. So I can already see that our boxes have been made like probably larger than they need to be. So we may decide to just forego IKs for now. But we have a system here, and if we look at our names here, we have torso 1 through torso 7. That's all the bones that our character has in its spine. That's our virtual spine. And these lists are basically just creating the ability to compare 2 sets of data about different spines versus my spine versus the spine of the preview mesh that we made in Blender. If you feel like this is getting a little technical, hold on, we're almost there. We just need to take this specific IK and add it into a new asset. We're going to type in, we're going to hit IK retargeter, and this is a lot simpler. All we got to do is rename this. I'm going to call this RTG underscore. We'll call this Zin to Woody because I'm Woody. Failed to revert package which was marked for delete. I must have named something this already and then deleted it to get ready for this because I didn't, it's very fun when you practice things and then practicing the thing actually messes up what you were hoping. The act of practicing actually. We'll just name this RTG Zin 2. We'll just say Wood because that's a unique name. Need a unique name in Unreal. If you've deleted something previously that has a name that you're already going to use, I would recommend restarting the program, but every once in a while you get one of these things pop up. Currently we have nothing inside this asset, but you'll notice these yellow little things here. They look just like our IK retargeters. So it's just as simple as looking for them. So I'll look for the XYN mesh. And then I will look for Woody, me. And then I will have 2 of them in this space. So if I hit running retarget, it's going to put both of them together. In our preview settings over here, make this a little bigger. I can pull this off to the side, and now we're getting a clearer picture of the 2 of them right next to each other. Here's mocopi data over here, and then here's me. If this is done correctly, we're going to press not quite perfect. We're going to click on cheer for UE cube, and then I'm going to actually turn off the IKs here because as we mentioned, our Unreal wanted some IK stuff from us that was pretty specific. So here's the 2 back to back. Here's me, and then here's my data coming in from mocopi. And this is what we need to see. This is basically it. The way this works is that if we have 2 characters and we have the 2 lists of bones that we made here, lists of bones, and literally it's not more complicated than that. These are lists of the names of bones. 3D little guys have 3D little bones. And then with those lists and with the characters in the same pose, we're able to cross these over. Cool. If we press the export button here, this will create our new asset. I'm going to put it in a place in my project that makes sense. You can put it in a place in your project that makes sense. And then we could just name this specifically. It's interesting it's giving me this rename thing. Usually just gives you a name. I'm just going to just name this like cheer. Again, I think this is because I previously practiced this route, and then Unreal was like, oh, you've put data in our system. We'll never forget that. Here we go. So here's our character. and he's dancing. He's ready to go. Perfect. Cool. Now, how do we activate this? This is like the workflow. Like we've made the animation asset, but like we want to press a button and be able to see this in our game, right? I'm going to show you guys a quick and easy way that you're able to just do that right away without, too much fuss, basically. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go here and we're going to go to animation modifiers. That's not right. To create, we're going to the create tab. I'm going to go create anim montage, and then we'll just call this cheer emote. There's no right way to name things. There's just ways that keep you more or less organized. So if you see me thinking about it too hard, that's from many nights of doing game development with badly named assets. So it's a big tip to anyone out there, whether or not you're doing motion capture, always name your things as well as you can. So we have our montage, and the montage is basically the same as the animation asset. The thing about a montage is that they're triggerable from within certain systems in Unreal. I'm going to go grab my character from my from another folder. This is our game ready character, the one that if I press play probably won't animate, and I can tell you why that is. That guy will not animate because he is missing some information in his animation blueprint. The animation blueprint in Unreal is basically the brains of your system, and it's going to show you, it's going to show the engine how to manage all of the logic behind what your game's animations do together. Because if you've ever played a video game, you're not just looking at one animation when you're playing with your character. Like your character walks forward, it walks sideways, it walks to the left, it walks to the right, it jumps up and down, it does all of this crazy stuff. We're not even going to begin to cover any of that today, but I can show you a quick way using this tool to showcase an animation. Let's say you work in game dev and you want to show somebody a great preview. Some really wonderful mocopi animations came in. They've all been retargeted. They've gone through the system, and now they're ready to rock on our character. We're going to want a way to do that. So let's drag out from this spot here, or from like the very beginning. This is this is something in my code, right? You won't see this. Typically, if you're just starting from scratch, you are going to see this output pose, and then you're going to see nothing behind it. I've got all of this stuff. Don't worry about it. We're going to drag from like whatever's like the furthest in the chain, or closest in the chain, I suppose, to this output pose. Yeah, closest to the output pose. And we're going to look up slot. By dragging out, it opens this menu. We're going to type slot, and then slot default slot has been created. And that's great. We're not going to mess with that. We can rename it later. We're not going to rename it. Because our animation graph is all hooked up again, that means that we are ready to play, and this time we will actually play with animations. We needed to make sure that was all hooked up and running. And then you can see here's my character walking. A fun fact about this character is like when he stops, he will just T-pose, and then at first look, you're like, what the heck is going on? Why is this guy just T-posing? Nobody stands like this when they're just idly standing around, and that's because, friends, I use tools like mocopi to put in live animation to the character so that while I'm streaming, I can walk around like a video game, but then when I'm doing this, I can take live data in from a motion capture system. So ignore the T-pose, but we do have the ability to code a trigger to see our animation. I'm gonna click this, and another really cool Unreal shortcut for those of you who are inclined to check out Unreal, you can press Control+B on Windows, and that'll take you right to the folder of whatever character you have. It's a really quick trick to be able to get through and move quickly. I am in my event graph here. This is an Unreal blueprint system. This is a visual code language, basically. I use this all the time. It's really great. It looks like spaghetti. It looks like Legos glued together with spaghetti, but this is actually code. It's really nice, especially if you're new to coding, because all you're doing is trying to like wire up little blocks together. Super easy. We don't have to write a lick of code. We're just using our little setup here. So let's do an input from a like a keyboard, right? So we can just start typing in the key what we're looking for. Let's say we want space bar. We'll go space bar. Actually, the space bar is a bad example because I will be using the space bar as a jump in my game, so we don't want that. We can just set an input key, so we can check this out. We can look through this menu, and then we can find the G key. Another cool little thing you can do is you can select this button and then press any button, and then you can change it just by actually hitting that button. But I want G, so I'm going to use G. And then I'm going to drag this out, and I'm going to hit I'm going to go to play montage from this menu. And if you're an Unreal Pro, you're probably like, Woody, that's not the kind of input system that you should use. Shh, we're moving quickly today. I know about the input systems. We are here to showcase how quickly and easily we can get motion capture into the engine. So we've got a mesh here, in which case you might have several, but I want one that says Woody because this is my player character. And then I'm going to put this into the skeletal mesh component. This is a drag and drop. I drag it here, I drop it here, and then I move these around and adjust them a little bit to make them a little prettier. You can do what you like. And then I'm going to go to montage to play, and I'm going to type in cheer emote. So here's our cheer emote. So we are going to compile this, and then we're going to close this. And when we hit play, here's me walking around. But if I press the G key, I'm going to do my little pose here. I'm going to do my animation. There we go. So it does that, and then it goes right back into the typical animation logical flow. That's why we use a montage. You have the ability in Unreal to like set up animations that just loop, but that's not very helpful for if you're making a game asset. So montages are the way to go if you want to just like insert one. I don't want to get too in the weeds with Unreal, but this is the game workflow, I guess. This is how you go from using motion capture and then bringing it all the way into a game engine. So that's essentially it. Derek, I know that we have probably some questions to go through. I can also talk more about how you would continue to learn how to use some of this stuff.
Yeah, we'll open it up for some Q&A. I already see some coming in. We did have a questions for PG Johnson, who missed the first 40 minutes, according to the timer. Was asking, are you using the original 6-tracker?
No. Oh, man. No, we're using the mocopi Pro today. We're using mocopi Pro with Zen Studio. So we have, at this point, my character looks very strange. That's because it's been a long time since we've been doing the motion capture. We've been, for like maybe the past like 20 minutes, we've been in other software. So some of my trackers are a little bit off base. We recalibrate them. But no, as you can see, I have a lot of trackers on right now. I have an upper arm. I have one on my hand. I have one on my wrist. We have 12 trackers on me today. So that's the mocopi Pro. It increases the amount of stuff we can do with mocopi.
How does it work with the trackers? Is it like, I'm thinking like AirTags where they come in like packs of 4? Is like, do you buy them individually? How many do you need?
That's a great question. So they come in the 6-packs. In the Pro version, you're gonna get 12. You're gonna get 2 times the 6-pack. But like here, they sit in this little charger. You could. I'm not gonna take them all off and show you, but they sit like right in this little thing. And there's a USB-C port right here where you can plug it in, and they hold battery really well. I've never had them fail on me during a thing. Most of the time, I'm using them for something that like isn't like too time intensive, but like they tend to go as long as I do. There are some people who do mocap like for super long periods of time. I'm not one of them. Typically, I'm using them for like 1 to 4 hours or something. I'm not sure what the official battery life is, but I've never had a problem. Like it's always been fantastic for me.
Awesome. And we had a question come in regarding interference. Now I know when you were doing the
Yeah.
recalibration, you took the headphones off. Obviously, they're magnets, so anything that is magnetized, you're open to that field.
Mm.
Are there any issues such as line of sight, or is there certain things, since they are magnets, is there certain things that you should be a distance away from anything else magnetic or anything like that?
Yeah, great question. So Derek, we both live in New York City. This place is like if you looked at it through the like a special set of goggles that only showed you magnetic forces, you wouldn't be able to see straight. There's so much going on here. Every old building is made out of metal. Not very much help when you're thinking about magnetometers and how they connect to each other and stuff. So the folks at mocopi had this great idea where you can use the system. I don't have a webcam set up in like a easy to configure way. Like I have the one I'm looking at for this show, but it's not like what I would need for this application. But they have a webcam-based system where you can reduce the amount of like, drift that happens over the time by turning on the webcam, which I think is really neat because that's the kind of like an issue we're all going to face in the modern world where people keep putting up radio towers and there's old ferrous metals in the buildings and stuff like that. There's no line of sight issues though with a system like this, which is great. I've used other systems that are optical where if something just can't be seen by a camera, then you're out of luck. And that's really annoying. And you got to think about that. And then you can't like move your legs under a desk because then like a camera can't see your legs under a desk. And I like working at my desk. So hopefully that helps answer the question.
Definitely. Now, you were using the mocopi for motion capture. Can you talk about the difference in using something like the mocopi versus a full body suit?
Sure. mocopi versus a full body suit. I think mocopi's not the only system out there that has like, I'm trying to think of how to answer that specifically. Like this is the equivalent of a full body suit. The 12 sensors placed on all of like the different body parts. Like if this is like this is a motion capture suit that just doesn't have wires running between all of the different points. So that means that the like a suit, the reason you'd wear like a suit is to hide your wires and connect all your wires together. Where this just goes on over top of whatever you're already wearing, which is very comfortable.
Easy, comfortable.
Yeah.
Now, what about like finger tracking, face tracking? What are you using to do that? As obviously this is for your body motions, but what are you doing for more intimate, detailed stuff such as face fingers?
For sure. Yeah. For like kind of depends on your project. I've used like a number of different things. There are other tools that I use. Sony doesn't make a glove yet. If you guys ever do make a glove, please let me know. I'd be excited about that. You can use like a tool like a Manus glove. I've used those. I've used StretchSense gloves. There are other companies that just make gloves. And then in terms of how you get those to work together, you could either record those separately and then bring them in Blender, like when we were in our Blender stage, or you could maybe find a way to bring them into Unreal, or maybe you could stream them into Unreal alongside mocopi and then record them together in Unreal. With face stuff, a lot of what I use typically is just an iPhone. There's a number of good apps out there. Epic Games, which makes Unreal Engine, actually has published a free one called LiveLink Face that will record your face and bring in all of that face data. That works specifically really well with Unreal if you're into Unreal, but there's other solutions as well. But like a lot of today's facial capture technology can be done quickly, easily, and in real time by using iPhones because they all have those infrared sensors that they created for like like when you unlock your face with the Face ID, that is the same technology that can be used to do motion capture, which is pretty cool. Like you maybe already have a motion capable camera right with you in your pocket.
That's pretty wild. Now, you had talked about software. You mentioned Blender. What are the main differences between Blender and Unreal? Why would you choose one over the other?
Sure. Blender is animation software. Like Blender is it does a lot of really cool things very well. I use it for making characters and stuff. It's great for that. the reason Blender I included in this workflow is to show people how to go from one app to the next. Blender is increasingly being adopted more and more so in the industry, and it's helpful to kind of use for like fine-tuning things. Um, it's also free, which is great. It's like I don't think I'd be in the animation world if it wasn't for Blender. Like, love it. Unreal also, it's not completely free because like if you like make a very successful game, like Epic Games does get a cut, but you can download Unreal Engine for free. And until you make like an absurd amount of money, I think you need to make $1 million to like owe them anything. then Unreal is like functionally free for most people who are beginners. Like it's not really an issue. So I've chosen those partially just because like they're like very relevant workflows. Both of those apps are really great for making really cool visual content. In Unreal, it's a game engine. So like if we're making something for a video game, like that's going to be a great choice for that. If we're doing something that's more animated, then Blender is also a great place to go. So another great reason to include it in this live stream.
Totally. Now, is the whole mocopi, just everything, the system, is it as portable as it looks? Like, can you just throw those in and you could just take your camera and everything and just go wherever?
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, and you wouldn't need a camera either. A single mocopi unit by itself will work with your iPhone, or I don't know if there's an Android app. I believe there may be. I'm not entirely sure. If anyone from Sony wants to chime in on that, there isn't like you can run these straight from an app on your phone. It looks visually very similar to the app that we've been using for motion capture here, but that's like one of the things that got me really excited about mocopi when it first came to the US was like, oh, we can just put it in our pocket and then it connects with the phone. And then you can just like, if you have an idea for motion capture, even if it's like a really long idea, like you want to like walk around and you want to do a scene, like you want to like, maybe you want to like record some audio as well. And you want to like do that together. You could like record like an entire performance of something and it's just sitting there in your pocket. It's wonderful.
That's wild. So is it recording it to the actual, like, where is it recording? How's it storing it? Is it?
Oh, same thing as the computer. So like your phone is a small computer, right? The mocopi app on your phone will also just save BVH files like the ones that we created today straight to your phone. And then you can you can just like upload them. Actually, once we did a mocopi event at an event for like animators and motion graphics artists, and we all went outside to go play with the mocopis. Going outside with motion capture equipment is very fun, by the way. And then after it was done, people are like, well, this is great that we did this, but it recorded to your phone. Like, can I use this? And I just airdropped them the file.
Wow, that's awesome. I was kind of, because I mean, I'm so used to something like this is something where it's like you have it in your setup in your studio. It's kind of wild how portable it is. Even in this day and age, it's still kind of wild.
Yeah, totally.
Awesome. PG Johnson back. Can I just buy another 6-pack and use them together to make a pro kit?
Check out the website. There is like, it's all very modular. So like when I first started with mocopi, I just had the one, and then when this came out, like the team sent me like the other half of it, like sent me like another 1-pack. If you are going to set up the Pro, you are going to need these receivers. Now that we're done using it, I can unplug it and I can just show you guys what it looks like. Plug it. These receivers, this also very tiny and very portable. But these work with a computer, with a PC. So if you're going to use like both of the sets together, you need these. And then that can also, I think if you already own 2 mocopi, I think there's like a way to buy the receivers or something. But like check out the website. Like there's different packs and configurations and kits and stuff like that. So if you're thinking about one, like you could just buy like a mocopi, and then if you like it, then you could upgrade to the Pro, or however you want to square it. It's really nice when companies make modular products that allow you to kind of evolve with your process.
All right, I did get some intel from Sony.
Nice.
The mobile version, it records and saves on your phone.
Yes.
And if you own one set, you can just buy another set and the receivers. So
yes.
but buy the receivers separately.
Yes, the receivers. Yes, the receivers separately. That sounds correct.
Perfect. Thank you for that Sony bug in my ear.
We really appreciate it.
We totally do. Now, Woody, if someone's looking
Yeah.
to, someone watches this and they're like, wow, that's way cooler than what I'm doing on my off days. I want to get into this. Can you, number one, give some advice for somebody who is just getting in to animation? And number two, where does this software and hardware fall in terms of, do I have to hit a certain point before worrying about mocopi, or is something that mocopi I can work into my workflow as a beginner in animation?
Sure. I think the if you're just getting started and you're getting used to animation, it's hard to do and it takes a long time to get good. If you're trying to animate stuff that's like more person-like if you're trying to make something that you know, like in a video game, typically, like you're trying to like recreate real people. Well, using real human motion capture is a really great way to get started with that, and then like can really kickstart. But that, I mean, I've used mine for a lot of stylized stuff because like my character is he's animated, you know. So I think it's great. People at all levels, you know, if you just want like a small little kit to be able to like help you, just like flesh out some ideas. Even animators who are like very experienced, who are doing everything by hand and used to doing things by hand, they often will record themselves, and it could be nice to like use a kit like mocopi to record a reference of your body motion and then just see it in 3D as well. I think that there's people from every different discipline who could find like a really cool use to get it like into the way they already do things.
Mhm. Yeah, I could see myself annoying everybody I work with. I'm sitting there watching you do the animation. I'm like, man, I need to ask him how easy this is to get into, because it looks so cool and so easy.
It does look cool. I think that that is like probably some of the biggest props I would give to their team is that like usually you don't look cool wearing motion capture stuff. Where like when I have these little guys that like does like they're very nicely designed. I really like the way they look like because that they that you look like you've
And
got something like some sports device on or something like that.
yeah, no, literally, I'm like, it's like you're wearing like fitness, like a fitness tracker, just a couple fitness trackers.
Yeah. It looks very casual.
Yeah,
Just
and the latency, I was shocked. I mean, we're going through Zoom to YouTube, going on, and then so we're dealing with everything that you have on your side. We're incorporating the internet and we're incorporating streaming and all the compression that comes with that. And the latency was not even an issue. I mean, I'm like looking back and forth to see when are you moving, how is it moving, and kind of how much, like what level of leeway is there? Is it, how accurate is it to your motions? And I was super impressed.
Yeah, a great pro tip if you go the mocopi Pro route is if you separate the two receivers by distance, with the way they work with their wireless signals, it's very helpful if they're not like right on top of each other. So that's like a great pro tip. Like get a long USB cable and just like put them on like different sides of your PC. It helps a lot with making sure everything's real time. If like you notice that like there's some hiccups with the data, everything seems to work itself out after you're done recording. Like the mocopi, even if it's like it sputters every once in a while, it doesn't mean like your take is necessarily sputtered. Like it's very good at figuring itself out after the fact.
Hmm. Well, some great information here, Woody. I want to thank you for coming on and introducing us to this animation world. This is the first thing we've had of its kind on this platform. So huge thank you to you. Huge thank you to, of course, the entire team over at Sony and mocopi for making this possible. Look, this was the way to do it, was from your studio, and now we're back to in person. We came on for this special virtual event for you to do your thing. You killed it, man.
It's very fun that we both live in the same city and yet we're doing this via Zoom from my studio to your home studio on a very wintry New York day, I guess.
I know it is. It's serendipitous. It kind of, I guess, just all worked out
Yeah.
perfectly. Woody, huge thank you to you. And of course, all of our viewers out there who we missed you guys. It was good to get back on YouTube and see you guys once again. But again, a huge thank you to WoodyDevs and Sony, and to all of our viewers out there. You listened or watched another edition of the B&H Virtual Event Space. I'll catch y'all next time. I don't know when, but next time.